behind these walls, or you're going to serve me outside of these walls. But you will serve me, so you make the choice. So I knew at that point and at that time, it was a life and death situation. Either I was going to end up in jail or prison for a life sentence behind doing something stupid.
To have once been a criminal is no disgrace. To remain a criminal is the disgrace. I formerly was a criminal. I formerly was in prison. I'm not ashamed of that.
Today, I'm excited to have this person as a guest. It's my guy Ronnie Forbes. Ron, what's up, big bro? How you feeling, man?
Oh, everything's everything. A little tired, but it's a good tired.
There we go. Nothing wrong with that, man. I'm excited to have you here with me, man. I'm glad you took the time out to talk to my audience, man. So this is how we do it here, man. Audience, as you know, on this show, we believe that no one can induce a person like the person themselves. So, Ronnie, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the floor for a second here and allow you to introduce yourself, bro.
I'm the executive director of One Nation Dream Makers. It's a veterans based organization. We strive to help veterans get back on track with their issues that they might have had from prior military experience or being out here into the world with PTSD issues. It's not just for veterans, but it's help anybody who needs help get back on track, whether it's a veteran or formerly incarcerated or somebody who's homeless. It's those who are in need. But I used to be a criminal.
Before I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. Let's go. Ronnie, can you talk to the people today about your upbringing and how things in your household were?
Well, my mom and dad are pastors of Riverside Christian Family Fellowship. They've been married for over 65 years, totally surrendered to the Lord. Never drank and any of that. So I lived a pretty sheltered life. So once I left mom and dad's out of high school, I went away to school at UC Irvine. And that's when the prodigal living lifestyle started, because I was out of the house and living in the dorms, and I started just hanging out and started partying.
Right.
Even though I was still hearing a voice from the Lord, I was doing what I had to do to keep running the opposite direction.
You find people that talk about their trouble started when they were young, but that's not the case with you. So evaluating your life, can you recollect the moment when you decided to pursue or dip into unlawful activities?
Well, my criminal behavior didn't start until after I left college. I joined the military, went away to Korea for 3 years, experienced a whole lot of racism over there, came home and was married to a Korean, and we started a life. But I brought home all of the unforgiveness and all of the issues, along with the drugs and the alcohol. And then after she divorced me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I didn't have any hope, and I started going out into the streets and doing criminal behavior and started going back and forth to jail.
And so in the military, it sounds like some of the things that you experienced or the things that you saw were very difficult to deal with. I can imagine for any individual. And that kind of led you on to when you return home to start making some of these decisions.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize that, because I was in denial, didn't want to go, and, because of my pride, didn't want to go talk to anybody, counselor or whatever, didn't want to go get no psychological counseling or any medication. So I used to just self-medicate myself with drugs and alcohol.
So many people have many different types of hardships that they have or have been dealing with or even currently dealing with at this time, right? I mean, things like homelessness, alcoholism, drug addiction, physical or mental abuse. Can you tell the audience if you experience any of the above and if any of these things played part in some bad decisions that you made once you returned back home?
Absolutely. Yes, all of the above. I was homeless. I was on drugs and alcohol. I was participating in criminal behavior to support my alcohol and drug addiction, as well as to just be able to function out there in the streets in that prodigal lifestyle. I know for a fact that people that are out there now, I have empathy for them. I know there's a lot of people that have psychological problems, like I did, and I finally tapped out. And this July, I'll have 6 years clean and sober. After being incarcerated for my last time, I made a choice, and that was that I wasn't going back and trying to give the devil a chance to take me out like he had already tried several times. I should have been dead. But I have 3 children, biological children from my first marriage, and now I have 6 grandchildren.
Sweet.
So
Sweet.
what God showed me is that it's not about where I've been. It's not about even where I'm at. It's about where I need to go in order to show them the right example of life after a mess.
Wow, that's deep. That's well said, brother. I take my hat off to you, man. It's hard for a lot of individuals. They don't have the mental fortitude at times to realize, that it's time to stop. I know a lot of people say you got to get to the point where you want to stop, right? I'm a firm believer that you got to get to a point where you got to stop, right? You have to do something better. It's deeper than won't. A lot of times people say won'ts, but to me, that's not enough, man. But let me move on. I got another question for you. Can you talk to the people about the moment that you came to the realization it was time for you to give up all antisocial pursuits and to transform into that individual that you had on the inside of you the whole time?
Yeah, it was when I was arrested July 4th, 2015. I had already got out and was sober, and then I relapsed and went back to some of the old behavior. But God, it was like I heard straight from God, and he told me, he said, look, you're going to either serve me behind these walls or you're going to serve me outside of these walls. But you will serve me, so you make the choice. So I knew at that point and at that time, it was a life and death situation. Either I was going to end up in jail or prison for a life sentence behind doing something stupid. I mean, I never did have too much criminal behavior with people. I was more into stealing things and doing things that would just support my drug and alcohol addiction. But there was times where I was behind the wheel of a vehicle under the influence, and had I killed somebody, then I could have been doing vehicular manslaughter, so to speak. Right. So I'm saying all that to say this. It came to the time and the point in my life where God said enough was enough. So I wasn't just arrested the last time I was incarcerated, I was rescued.
Right. That's good. That's deep. So I understand you're married. Can you tell the audience a little bit about your loving wife and how, she may be helping you in this cause that God called you to do?
Yeah. When the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. I came home and I just knew that God, after my first wife divorced me, I, tried to look for love in all the wrong places throughout the years to try to recapture what I lost. But I never did find the right relationship. And when I came home after surrendering totally to the Lord, I said, I'm just going to wait on you, Lord. And I was in my 1-bedroom apartment. I used to keep an extra coffee cup on the table. And I used to sit there and just believe that she's coming someday. And I used to make sure when I went to the bathroom, I put the toilet seat down because I wanted to make sure that when my wife was in my apartment, that the toilet. I met her, and it was just divine intervention. It was God showing me that it was time. So we started dating for a little while, and then one thing led to another, and we got married 6 months after we met. And she is my inspiration. She is my guardian angel straight from God. She's a caregiver. She's off today at her facility, and she'll be coming home tomorrow. But most importantly, she's the caregiver that God gave me to take care of. The Bible says when a husband loves his wife, he loves a wife like Christ loved the church. So now I know how to die to myself, her reach her full potential, but it's a two-way street. She is totally behind everything that God is doing in my life.
Good stuff, man. I'm really happy to hear that. I always enjoy hearing individuals talk about their better half that help them and then push them to strive to be better. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to do some of the things that that God even called you to do for somebody else too. I don't know if that makes sense. Sometimes, you feel like I'm doing this, God told me to do this. And if it's only for you, sometimes you can lag and sleep a little longer. But you
Hello.
realize that you got people depending on you, your wife depending on you, your kids depending on you, people on the streets depending on you. You get up and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very solid point. See, it's like this, right? I know that God has restored my life, and He's given me. I'll be 60 years old in January. I'm fighting a couple of health issues, type 2 diabetes, and just a couple of things. But I know that God has restored me to the point where I'm going to be here to finish this race.
Absolutely.
I got a good leader. It's my dad. He's 85, and he goes to the gym now that they're open again, and he goes and walks, and he's spiritually in tune, physically in tune, so that he can finish this race and pass the baton the proper way.
There you go.
When it's time to check out of here, I'm going to check out of here saluting my troops and saying, okay, y'all go ahead and keep on and follow me as I follow Christ.
No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. That's good stuff, man. Brother, listen, I must admit that I am fed up with always hearing about the negative actions that formerly incarcerated individuals may take once they get out of jail. Yet not really hearing much about all the great things that people like yourself and me, some of the things that we have accomplished are still accomplishing day to day, right? For our family, for the community, for God, for everything that, He called us to do. And so I want to ask you, can you take the time out to talk about, I know you started in the beginning a little bit, but talk a little bit about more what it is that you do for not only Livermore in the county of Alameda, right, which is all the different cities combined, because I went on Instagram and I seen you doing stuff in Hayward, right? Some good stuff, right? And I know you go out to other places like out in the valley. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, up until last week when the Farmers and Family boxes ended, on Tuesdays and on Monday, I do the food pantry distribution for Eden Housing. We do 4 facilities with Martin Final and Grocery Outlet, layout of the groceries for the low-income residents to come by, and they basically just shop. The resident services coordinator set everything up, and we go out and we lay it all out. It's a great time. Love to have you come out and see what we do out there on a Monday in Dublin or a Thursday in Hayward, every other Thursday. But on Tuesdays and Fridays and Saturdays, we were doing the USDA Farmers and Families boxes and going all the way from Union City as far as Stockton and Tracy. I'm partners with former NFL greats Bubba Paris and Guy McIntyre from the 49ers. They are a part of our advisory committee. We deliver boxes to them, had delivered to them on Thursday nights for their homeless project that they've got going on in Tracy, California. So it's not about me. It's about Jesus. It's about God restoring lives, and food ministry is a way Jesus fed the multitudes and then he ministered to them. So it's a way that we need to make sure that people, because see, if I can help somebody with some food and they're able to take that money that they would have went out shopping and use it to pay their electric bill or to put on their rent or put gas in their car, then it's a win-win situation, because I've been there. So food equals money, and food equals ministry. So for me, I'm just excited about being able to do more. We're in the process of connecting back with a program that I graduated from called Operation My Hometown through DSAL, which is with the Alameda County Sheriff's Department. They have a big Dig Deep Farms organization right by the sheriff's station in San Leandro. They're ready to partner with us in a Tri-Valley setup. So we are in negotiation of trying to find a warehouse out here to duplicate that process. I'm a caterer, and I was a cook in the military. So I still have my catering license, and I still have a commercial kitchen that I operate out of, or have the ability to operate out of. But because of the fact that we've been doing so much food distribution of recovery and with the USDA boxes, I haven't had any time to get back into the God-given trade that he has given me and the passion that I have for cooking. But in God's time, all of it's going to come together. I believe that we're going to be able to get all of that going and then turn around and train some people to become culinary artists and go into a culinary school, get retrained, have some people working in the pantry. I truly believe that there's a bigger picture here than just passing out food. So that's what we're working on right now as an organization. We have a lot of support from the Sheriff's Department, from the supervisors, Alameda County Supervisor David Halbert, Richard Valle, Wilma Chan, Nate Miley, and Keith Carlson. All of the supervisors are indirectly supporting our purpose right now. They gave me an award, all glory to God, a couple months ago at a supervisor's meeting. It's all God. It's all God. God gets all the glory for everything that is transpiring in my life, because I was lost. I was dead. And now I'm found and alive because of God, Jesus in my heart, and because of my support group that's around me. You hang out with chickens, you forget that you're an eagle. So if you hang out with eagles, you fly like an eagle.
That's right.
Thank God that I am surrounded by eagles, and I thank God that you have come into my life, because you are a big mentor to me now. I look up to you for your years of freedom, for your accomplishments with your family, and with what you're doing in your ministry. In other words, when I grow up, I want to be more like the Jesus in you.
Most definitely. I appreciate that. I'm humble, bro. I really appreciate that, man. No doubt about it, man. Oh man, that was big. I appreciate it, Ronnie. And you really deserve that award and much more, man. And I'm hoping that people, the audience who watch this, we're gonna have people from all over the place see this, and people in higher positions and power that can also help to your cause. And I'm hoping that they pitch in, man, because you're doing great work. At one point, you said you took, now you're giving, bro. Not only your spirit, your love, your passion, and the God that's inside of you, but you're giving food to people that's hungry. And man, the Bible calls us to do that. And a lot of times people forget that. And I thank you for that, bro. I really do.
One last thing that I will say this, you spoke about the Bible, but the Bible does say this in Ephesians 4, verse 28. It says, let him that stole steal no more.
Absolutely.
But rather let him labor with his hands, that which is good, that he may have to give to them that are in need. That's who I used to be, but this is who I am.
Right.
Christ in me is the hope of glory. Therefore, if a man be in Christ, he's a new creature. Old things have passed away. All things become new. So I know that God has restored my life to show other people. If God has done this for me, he can do it for anybody.
Ronnie, there is a woman, a man, or even a young person who may be listening to this or watching this show that grew up in a household where a parent may abuse drugs or alcohol. The negative impact is affecting them in a horrible manner. I guess my question to you is, what piece of advice that you would give to that individual to help them begin to recover and pull themselves up and through and strive?
Okay, the Bible tells us faith without works is dead. The first thing you got to do is make a decision that enough is enough. You have to decide within yourself that you are done. That doesn't mean that you're going to actually, sanctification is a process, okay? Sometimes a person relapses once, they relapse twice. I'm not saying that that's the case with everybody.
Right.
But what I am saying is this. You need to dig deep into your spirit and find out what the root of the problem is. Because the drugs and the alcohol and the criminal behavior is all a fruit of what's going on inside. So if you have some unforgiveness in there, if you have some pain in there, whatever it is that you're doing, all of this stuff, like I did, to self-medicate and to get rid of those emotions, let it go. And then start, that's the faith part. But then you got to deal with the works. You got to go out and find maybe a sober living home to go live in, or you got to find some people to go to a NA or AA meeting, or you got to go to a church, or whatever works for you, keep doing it. Because what works for you may not work for me. It may not work for the next person. But you have to find what exactly works for you. It might be a piece of this, piece of that, piece of this. But whatever it is that you got to do it. Because tomorrow is not promised. We know that from this COVID that just came. Look at all the people that passed away. We know that from everything that's happening on the streets right now. It's not promised. So the best advice I can give is to live each day as if it was your last, and give God all the glory all the time for what he's doing in your life, and surrender all. That's your only hope.
Like that, brother. You put that really well, bro. You really well. Because we do have people out here that get to a point, like I said, that fortitude isn't there. They can't really figure out, what it's going to take. And you can tell somebody to go here, but that may not be really what works for them. I like that you said, look, what works for me may not work for you. You got to figure this out within yourself, what you need help with, beginning with forgiveness of others that offended you. And then, you need to forgive yourself, and then you find that help that you need.
That's right.
Find that help that you need. In my book, I have a chapter, I talk about life jackets. And sometimes, there's people out there willing to throw us a life jacket, but, we're not willing to grab it. And so I want to go to this last thing, right? Lastly, if you had a chance to talk to 17, 18, maybe even 19-year-old Ronnie today, what advice would you give him?
Follow your daddy as he's following Christ. Then you won't have to go around the mountain like the children of Israel for 40 years. Get it right immediately and stop trying to find love in all the wrong places, because there's only one love, and his name is Jesus.
Oh, wow. That's deep, Ronnie. I'm loving that. Ronnie, look, before I let you go, one more thing. If people want to support you, they want to come follow you and see the work that you're doing in the county and abroad, can you tell me, are you on Facebook, Instagram, website? Give us some information.
All the above. Our website address is www.onenationdreammakers.org. We have a GoFundMe that is available for people to donate to help out to accomplish this ministry. But I'm a firm believer, where God guides, he provides. So any help and all help will be appreciated. And yes, you can go to Facebook. You can go and follow me, Ronnie Forbes. Friend me on Facebook, and I'll friend you, and you can see everything. Or you can go to One Nation Dream Makers on Facebook. We have both of those. And then we have 2 different Instagram sites that you can see. I explained to you that I was a caterer, but we intermingled the catering with the food ministry. So it's called The THE Fusion, FUSION, Food, FOOD, Club, veteran-owned business. I was a barbecuer, and my wife was bringing Filipino food, and my sister was helping me, but you can see everything there. And then also on Instagram is One Nation Dream Makers.
Listen, man, I want to thank you for your service to the country. Number one, man, thank you for your service. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I also want to thank you for all of the service that you do for the people of our county, man, Alameda County, and even the counties abroad that is not even connected to Alameda County. Once again, thank you for coming to I Used to Be a Criminal. I salute you, my brother, and I'll talk to you again later.